Alright, what's up guys, DBZSkills. In today's video is going to be which units you should be focusing on to max out. Now, in the global version, of course, there's not that many units I have right now. I haven't really played too much just because I have school and stuff like that, but I can still talk about all these things and things that you really should be doing, of course, for this game. So, the units that you really want to max out and the ones you want to focus on in the global version is, of course, the first unit is Green Meliodas. Since I have him, I can show him in my box itself, but you want to get him to level 60, you are him and stuff like that. As you can see, I have my JP version on the right side, so I'm going to click into this one as well. So you can see that I also have Meliodas right here. This is the one that you want to for sure get to level 60, you are him, and so on. So that's one thing to know. He's very good for story. That's one thing to definitely know. You guys should reroll for him if you haven't already. So once you get him, you should be pretty set to go. Another unit you want to max out for a pretty good reason is this red bond. I will explain why. If you guys haven't actually seen the video I posted about him, I think it was like yesterday, you guys want to check that out. Make sure to do that as well. Bond is a super good unit for story mode, and the other video will explain why, but he's very good to max out, so definitely look into maxing him out. Get him to UR level 60. Definitely get him there as well. Another unit you want to look at is this Blue King. So Blue King is definitely still one of the best units even in JP version. You can see right here. The reason why I say that is because he is level 80, of course, UR, and level 80 will happen later on in the game. But basically, this unit is very good because of two reasons. One, he's a great healer, so he's super good at healing. I'll basically put the cards right here as well so you guys can read it, so each side by side. So super good at healing, so which is really good for him. And as well as his first card, one thing to know is when you read it in English, it'll be easier. So right here, what he does is petrify, so that incapacitates a target so they can't move, and the effect is removed when target is attacked. So basically it's that we call it petrify, or you can call it stun, whichever one you want to call it. But super good to know that this unit is very good for that, and he's very useful on many other things as well. So I'll explain, like for example, he's very good when it comes to all the boss raids that come out. He's also really good when it comes to PvP. Super good. You will fight a specific team when meta does change, and that's going to be called Hellbrum and King together. I think there's a nickname, Kingbrum, that's what they call it. So you have to know that that is going to be a huge meta change when Hellbrum does come out, the red Hellbrum, and it's going to be really crazy. So let's go ahead and get into the next unit that we're going to talk about. The other unit I want to talk about really is this unit. So this unit is actually one of my favorite units, Arthur. I'm actually going to go to my JP one as well so you guys can see Arthur. Arthur, for some reason, is overshadowed for some reason. I don't know what it is, but he is a great support unit. So the reason why is because his second skill is a really good unit. So reason why is because this 3-star skill, for example, increases base stats by 30% and grants debuff immunity for 3 turns. That is an insane buff unit. Like, this is crazy. Like, I personally think he is one of the better units to have as a support unit, just because when you're fighting like certain enemies and certain things, the debuff is crazy. So the fact that you can get a debuff immunity for 3 turns is super good. And not to mention, I mean, he does a pretty decent amount of damage. So one good thing about this unit also is that he disables recovery skills for 2 turns. So the enemy will not heal for 2 turns, which is really good, or 1 turn depending on the one you do. So that's another unit you want to max out. Get him to at least level 60 so you can use him as a good unit on your team. If you do have him, if you pulled him, great. If you didn't, you'll pull him later on in the game. It's not like you need him right now specifically, but it's still one of the better units to definitely have for sure. So that's one of the main units I would say to worry about as well. But that's going to be like when you start getting a little bit more into the units as well. The next unit I really want to talk about is going to be this Jericho. Jericho was super slept on and was not one of the units that people were focusing on when she came out, just because she was not good at all. But she is going to be very useful later on in the game, so don't worry too much on her during this time frame for global, but kind of keep an eye on her just because she is a very good unit. She does crazy damage, and you'll see later on whenever she does come more into like the game itself. I'll do a full showcasing for her so you guys do have a better understanding. So make sure to go ahead and hit the bell button to get notified on all my video, guys. Subscribe to the channel if you guys want to see more Grand Cross, of course. So we're going to keep on going with that. And of course, drop a like if you guys are excited for this video, and hopefully you guys get a better understanding of what this game is going to be with all the units later on in the game. But Let's go into the next unit. Those were pretty decent as well. Now Hauser. Hauser, he is a very, very good farming unit. Now, many people are going to say Hauser is not worth it, but I'm going to say he's personally is pretty worth it. Now, at the beginning of the game, you didn't really look too much at him, but I pulled him very early in the game in JP, and I looked at him and I was like, he's decent. But then I looked at him at, if you put him attack and defense gear, he can do some crazy damage, and he is an AoE attacker. So if you look at his first skill, you can see that he attacks all units. And if you see his second skill, attacks all units. And then, of course, his ultimate attacks all units. A very good unit to have, because if you're basically farming and you're going through the SP dungeon, farming, if you have a unit that can attack all, that's going to be very good for you, because you can easily finish it out really, really fast with having no issues. But remember, he is an SSR unit. You have to be very careful about that, because gear is going to be a huge difference to him. So right now I don't think I have any gear on him. Okay, I do have some gear on him. This is attack and defense, but that's pretty much like a little bit later on in the game. But it's just a better idea of what unit to max out. This is one of the units I would say to max out, but just a little bit later in the game when you do get to that point. Another unit I want to talk about is going to be this. Where is she at? I think this is her right there. Yeah, so this Elizabeth and Hawk. So this unit is super good for demon raids. Now, at the time, no one really knew what she was really good for at the time, and she is an SR unit. Remember this. We didn't really know what she was going to do. So I think it was at the time where Red Demon was out. A couple months came along and people started trying out new units. SR Elizabeth and Hawk, this red one, is crazy. I can actually pull her up, but we can talk about her unit as well from here, from the English version. So when you see, she is going to do insane damage, and the other thing is that she does charge. What charge does is that it ignores defense. So Red Demon normally has a big defense boost, so it's really crazy like when you fight against it. But when you look at this unit as a 6-star, right, 6/6, right, if you look at the ult gauge, 6/6. The reason why is because you can easily get her ult 6/6, because when you're summoning for her, you're gonna pretty much pull her a lot. So that's a good thing, because one thing is this inflicts 600 or 500% of the attack on one enemy, and then it ignores defense, which is really good. But the thing to note is that this right here is crazy. So this cancels stances on one enemy and inflicts damage equal to 700% of the attack. But one thing to note is if you look at mine version right here, this one's going to do 1050% because it's a full 6/6 unit, so it's going to do a lot of damage. Now I want to show you guys the passive right here. This passive, basically what it does is that it increases basic stats by 10% at the start of the next turn if the hero doesn't take damage. So it's really good to have this unit because, one, if you have, let's just say, the Blue King is good to have because on the Red Demon, what you want to do is Petrify. This is the combo move that you want to do together with this Elizabeth, because when you have Elizabeth like this for a 3-star and you have her passive boosting her up every turn, she does such a crazy attack stats damage that it's crazy. As long as you have this card right here that petrifies against the Red Demon, you should easily beat it. So that's another unit you really want to work on, is this SR Elizabeth. Another support unit you guys want to focus on for sure is going to be this unit right here. So this is a green Gil Thunder, and this is an SR unit. Make sure this is an SR unit. I have mine as a level 70, but a lot of people will have him at level 80. But you can see he's a full UR unit, green, literally an SR green unit, and he is one of the best support units for sure. Now the reason why is because when you look at his second skill, what this does is that when you have a 3-star version of him, it increases attacks of all allies by 60% for 3 turns. Such a crazy boost for attack, and it's super insane for a unit like this. So you definitely want to focus on him to level him up, because he's going to be very crucial to have later on in the game. Around whenever the Crimson Demon Raid will come out, I'll cover that of course in Global when it comes out, but this unit is very good to have for sure. His first attack one isn't really the best, but it inflicts Rupture, which is 2 times damage against buffed enemies. So if you're fighting a buffed enemy, you'll do more damage, and then that equals to 250% on all enemies. So he's an attack all unit, so that's really good for an actual SR unit. And the thing is, mine is going to be 6/6 as well, just because he has a SR unit which you will pull literally all the time. So it's another unit you want to focus on. So there are going to be other units as well in the game. Currently, I would say, let's just say Gustav. If you can get Gustav, right, he is a coin shop unit. If you can get Gustav currently right now, I don't think you can currently, but if you can get Gustav, get him. The reason why is because he is one of the best units to use as an alternative of a Merlin that will come out later on in the game, but he is super good as well. So if we talk about Gustav real quick, so you'll see my Gustav right here. Doesn't even need to be too crazy, but he's a level 6/6 just because he was in the coin shop. Easy to fully max out. So one card that you really want to use is his second card right here. So this second card, what it does is called freezes. So what freeze does is that it will basically incapacitate a target, and effect is remove and target's attack. So basically it's like a petrify, just different, because one good thing about this is that when you freeze one enemy and it allows you to inflict 200 additional damage on the frozen target for 2 turns. So if you have this unit, let's just say you have this unit, right, and you do an ultimate with let's just say you do an ultimate with Meliodas, for example. Meliodas would do some insane damage just because he has a crazy attack stats boost from his ults. But there's other units that you can really do like a lot of damage with, but a very specific unit can do some crazy damage. It depends on Gustav, what you're running with. Gustav is very specific on what you can really do with him. So it just, like, let's just say raids. He'll be good for the Red Demon raid, but nothing else really. But that's besides the point. He's still pretty decent to have at least. I'd say get him to level 60 at least. 6-star him if possible, or 5-star him, because he's still pretty decent to have on here. Another unit you really want to work on is going to be this unit right there, Slater. So Slater, don't go too crazy on him, but he's really good for the Red Demon raid. He's actually made for the Red Demon raid, but he does take a lot of work to get into because he is an SSR unit, and SSR gear can be very annoying, but he's pretty decent as well. You can get him to like level 60, maybe level 70, and just kind of keep it there to have an extra unit for like usage. But he's not going to be very crazy to worry about, but he's still a pretty decent unit to worry about in the game itself. But another unit you definitely want to work on is going to be Green King. So Green King, later on you'll see why I'm going to say Green King. Now don't force yourself to work on him right now specifically. Wait until this is going to be like a crucial time when the Gray Demon raid comes out. So if you guys have been playing JP version, if not, and you're just a full new player, guys, basically this Green King is going to be very good for one specific thing and one specific thing only, and that's the Gray Demon raid. So whenever that comes out, you'll see what I mean. But this unit is super effective against that Gray Demon, and he does really good damage for him. So you'll see when that does come out, but this, I'm just giving you an honorable mention kind of thing for a unit to focus on for sure. Another unit I would say to focus on, now this might sound stupid, but I think he's really gets to really like use just for like specific here and there reasons, is a red Gil Thunder. This is an SR Gil Thunder. You'll pull him pretty much all the time, really. I think I pulled him a lot whenever I was playing JP pretty constantly at the beginning of the game, but he's pretty good. He's not like too crazy like where he will like do damage or anything, but he's very good for defensive reasons. So he would be good with defense and HP related gear, but his second attack right here, well, second card, is super good because at level 3 is really good. So basically what he does is that he assumes a stance which taunts enemies and decreases damage taken by 75% when attacked for 2 turns. So a good thing about that is what taunt does. It directs all attacks to himself. So what that means is that if you have a really crazy opponent in front of you and you have this unit in front of you, he would do some pretty good tanking like points. Like he would tank almost every attack that he gets hit with this kind of card. So he's good for that reason, but he's not worth like pushing too much into it. Just kind of a unit to back up yourself with realistically, that can like help you out through the story or anything else like PvP or something like that. Pretty decent to get by with that. But for so far the other units that are in the game, it's not like you have to worry too much about them realistically. I would say the other couple units that you would probably want to like slowly start working on would be, for example, I would probably work on this Hendrickson just for the fun of it. He's pretty decent to definitely look into. It's not like gonna be too crazy, but he still does a pretty decent amount of damage. Other units I would say to focus on, unfortunately we don't have them in here, but it would have been the coin shop units. Unfortunately we don't have them right now. One last unit I would probably say out of all of these units that you should focus on would probably be this red Bond. He's not bad really. He's pretty decent to have. He's not gonna go like too crazy for you, but one good thing is that he decreases skill ranks if you use these kinds of cards, and he's pretty decent for that. He then depletes the ultimate move gauge by the number of skill rank decreases. Not bad, but he's not gonna be like some unit that you should really focus on. But the main units that you should focus on are the ones I just said earlier in the video. So that's pretty much the units I would say to focus on more, to give them more of the time of the day, because later on in the game you'll see why they're so good, and of course you'll see like at certain points why you need to level 80 this unit, or you need to level 60 this unit, and so on. But I don't want to make this video too long. These are the couple units that you should focus on during the global grind, and since it's still a fresh new game, it's going to take some time to grind that, but hopefully you guys do understand that and just go throughout the game and just slowly build your team up and your box up slowly and surely. So but that's pretty much for today's video. If you guys did enjoy, let me know in the comments below. If you guys are excited for more 7 Daily Scenes Growing Cross videos, guys, let me know. Drop a like onto today's video, guys, if you did enjoy. When you drop a like, guys, if you guys do enjoy this video, guys, it helps a lot on YouTube, just pushes out the videos. And of course, if you guys are new to the channel, if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button, guys. We have been killing it with the subscribers. Thank you guys so much for the support, and hit the bell button to get notified on all the videos I post on Growing Cross. I try to post 2 videos a day for it, so hopefully you guys see both videos during that day. But that's gonna do it for today's video, guys. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you guys next time.